how to build an engaging learning environment. Are you ready to make learning come alive in your microschool or homeschool hybrid? But maybe the thought, the ideas, they seem so wonderful and engaging, even inspirational. But you may wonder, how does this actually happen? What if I don't have the resources or the people to help me? What if I've never taught in this way, but I've always wanted to, but I know all of the details? How could this really look different than public or private school education? What does it look like to build an engaging environment in a non-traditional setting? What really can help spark curiosity, deepen understanding, and foster a love for learning? I got you covered. That's what we're going to talk about today in our podcast episode about bringing education to life in your microschool or your homeschool hybrid. Let's do it.
Welcome, teacher, to the Let Your Light Shine podcast. If you're searching for the freedom and permission to design the life you love as a teacher, you're in the right place. I'm on a mission to help teachers just like you build their own dream school or homeschooling business. In this present day, the world needs you, teacher friend, to step out in faith and give students an education they love and so deserve. In this podcast, I will teach you how to start a fulfilling and profitable homeschooling business that lights you up. I'm Mackenzie Oliver, former elementary teacher and instructional coach, gone homeschool teacher and business builder. I'm here to empower you to step outside the classroom and choose the experiences, the curriculum, and all the moments that put a smile on your face and your students. Does it seem like a dream? Well, it did to me, until God opened the doors and made it reality. Together, we are breaking through fears and moving the crowd. So get out your notebook, sharpen your pencil. It's time to get your teach on.
In this episode, we're diving into how to create an engaging, student-centered classroom. One that looks and feels different from traditional public school models. So whether you're running a microschool, a homeschool hybrid, or a private school, I'm going to share practical tips and lesson planning ideas along with strategies to help students become active, excited participants in their learning journey and for you as a teacher as well. Now, the truth is, whenever I first started our microschool, I had this vision of what I wanted learning to look like, sound like, and feel like. As a matter of fact, if you've been listening to this podcast for quite some time, you may know my story of my husband and I for years having what we called tub talks, where I would we lived in a condo at the time, our girls were younger, and I would literally be taking a bath. We had this really big bathtub and I love taking baths. It's just a Midwestern thing, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's all over the world. But I know that there are some people around the world that don't have bathtubs. And some people think the bathtubs are really gross. I don't know. This is where dreams came alive, was in the bathtub for me. Okay. And my husband, he would be in the bathroom and he would have a notebook and I would just be talking to him about what I wanted my life to be like as a teacher. And I was so frustrated that we weren't having this actually come to life. And I wanted it to look and to feel different and to sound different, but I felt so constrained. And my husband would capture these ideas, and that's what we call tub talks. That is where the dream began. And I encourage you, step one, when it comes to building an engaging learning environment, is to literally give yourself time to think and to capture and to release in writing or in picture form or in typing what you want this environment to be like. I think that's truly what helped the whole process of the microschool coming into fruition. Is I am a processor, I am a visionary person, and while some people and even myself will be like, I'm wasting my time by writing all this down and I'm thinking too much, I truly do believe this is the process that birthed the entire homeschool, hybrid, microschool experience that we have today. Let's talk about what makes a learning environment engaging. And to people of all different backgrounds and even where you live in the world, it can be different. But there are some very, very critical components. In an engaging classroom, or you may have been taught, you may have experienced, you may have created a place where students are actively involved. You as the teacher are no longer the sage on the stage, which is different. This is a new, different way of teaching and learning. And this is not one I feel as if we really were taught in college or had a lot of experience with. Students are not just passive listeners. Even if, and I'm not saying that this doesn't mean that students don't have paper and pencil. I'm not saying that students don't even have, we'll never be away from a paperless society or a paperless education. There are going to be times when students have to process information through worksheets. There's going to be a time where students have to process information or they love touching a workbook. My daughter for years, all the way up until 7th grade, she was like, can you go to the store and buy me workbooks? That was the type of learner that she was. She loved it. But I wasn't sitting with her every day going through the workbook pages or sitting at my kitchen table and teaching her and then her do the workbook pages or vice versa in the classroom. Sometimes the students would look at their science workbook and be enthralled in all of the diagrams and the colors and the pictures. They'd be like, can I do this page right here? Can I go on and read this page? And remember, as a teacher, we would say, not yet. We're going to get to that next month. We're going to get that next quarter. Now you can say, sure, go for it. Students really are given the choice and the voice in their learning. They are encouraged to be curious, creative, and collaborative. And there are learning ways that feel relevant and meaningful. This doesn't mean that it is a stay and play environment. This doesn't mean that there isn't a progression of learning. This doesn't mean that there isn't accountability for learning, but it could look different. Some people who start microschools, they give grades. Some, they give a progress monitoring way of communicating with parents, parent-teacher conferences, student goals and tracking of their goals, students having task list or work list or different ways in which they are accountable for what they are learning. In public schools, they often have a very structured curriculum with less flexibility, and engagement typically relies on either technology or movement or even project-based learning, but there's a lot of restrictions. In private schools, you'll find more flexibility in teaching methods, but you may still have rigid expectations and assessments. But with microschools and homeschool hybrids, the data is out. There's unlimited flexibility to design learning experiences that fit with each student's need. So how do we actually make this happen? I want to share with you strategies to make the learning come alive, even if you feel as if I really don't have a lot of resources. I don't really know how this will look. I've never taught this way before. I've been coaching someone who is having this experience. How do I actually plan the lessons and activities while also teaching multi-ages? Can you just give me some simple steps so that I don't feel overwhelmed? Well, if you've ever thought, I don't have the experience, I don't have the tools, I don't have the confidence to do this, then you are definitely in the right place. So let's start back with strategies. To all my teacher friends, parents, and visionary leaders, if you are listening to this, I know you are passionate about creating a microschool or a program, a homeschool hybrid that truly shines. But let's be totally honest. Building and growing a microschool or your own program or homeschool hybrid, it isn't easy. It's not for the faint of heart. Whether you're just getting started or looking to scale, there's so much to navigate. Legalities, marketing, finances, student enrollment, location, curriculum planning. That's exactly why I created Microschool Masterminds, a community where you don't have to figure it out all alone. Inside, you'll get step-by-step guidance to launch, grow, and sustain your microschool or homeschool hybrid, access to our exclusive training modules, resources, and live coaching, and a supportive network of educators who get it because they're building their own dream schools as well. You have this dream of creating an incredible opportunity for students, for teachers, and yourself. Maybe you're in the early stages, wondering, where do I even start? Or maybe you've already taken the leap, but now you're feeling overwhelmed with marketing, enrollment, all of the planning or the finances. You're not alone, and you don't have to figure it out all by yourself. That's why Microschool Masterminds is here to help you on a month-by-month basis. That's right, it's a month-by-month membership designed to give you the support, structure, and strategy you need to actually make progress. Each month, you'll get live group coaching calls so you can ask questions, get feedback, and gain clarity on your next steps. Step-by-step training modules on legal setup, marketing, enrollment, financial planning, school operations, a private community of passionate educators who get what you're building and are right there with you, a roadmap to keep you moving forward whether you're launching or growing your school, and new resources delivered to your teacher mailbox inside our Microschool Masterminds community that are brand new every single month. And again, the best part is it's a month-to-month membership, so you can join when you're ready and staying as long as you need. Or if you're all in, grab the yearly membership and get 2 months free. This is your time. Your vision deserves a real plan, and I want to help you every step of the way. Go to teachersletyourlightshine.com/masterminds to join us today. That's teachersletyourlightshine.com/masterminds. We can't wait to see you. As I had mentioned before, it is very important to capture what you want learning to look like, to feel like, and to sound like. You may be thinking about creative, hands-on, real-world experiences. I remember I used to say, okay, honey, I want the kids, whenever they come, I want to have a little cottage in my backyard, and I want them to put their backpacks, hang them on a beautiful white hook. I want them to take their shoes off. I want them to come sit around the carpet and pull out a box of active little engaging activities that they can build with, or they can draw if they would like. I'll have music playing in the background. I'll have a little student helper at 9 o'clock. They'll go and they'll ring the bell that school is starting. And we'll come and we'll gather together, and all the students get to talk about what they love and what they did that they were excited about yesterday, or what their plans are for the weekend. Everyone will have a voice. And then I want the students to be able to make choices, which station they want to go to, while I pull a small group at a time and focus specifically on what those students need. I want them to go outside barefoot and look at their garden and water their garden. I want them to be able to then get into our van, and I drive them to the grocery store, and I take them to the produce department, and they will look at all of the fruits and the vegetables so they can see, this is what you're building. This is what you're growing right now. And maybe we could even go into the bakery department, and they could show them how they make a strawberry shortcake. Okay, so I went through all of these experiences. I would just go down the rabbit hole of what I wanted to look like and feel like. It was so beautiful. That is the very first step, is to think about how learning comes alive to you. Is it STEM and makerspace? Is it outdoor nature-based learning? Is it project-based learning? Is it movement and play? Is it flexible seating, learning stations? Is it kinesthetic learning? Is it a high energy, or is it more passive and peaceful? Is it gamified learning, escape rooms, simulations, interactive challenges? Because when you know this type of engagement that you want to have, then the planning can begin. Is there ownership for learning? Are students able to research what they want and present on topics that interest them? Do they have choice boards and menus? Can they write an essay or create a video or design a comic strip? Do they have passion projects and genius hour? So once you can think of the type of learning that students are going to be engaging with, then you're able to start really beginning to plan it out. You may even be thinking about building a strong classroom community like morning meetings and check-ins, or collaborative learning, small group work, Socratic seminars. What type of social emotional learning will it be? Empathy, conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, along with their academics. What about how to make it relevant and purposeful? Are you going to take your high schoolers or middle schoolers and relate to personal finance, or do the science of cooking, or tie in history to current events? Will you have guest experts in field trips? Go to local businesses, artists, scientists? Are you going to have a lemonade stand, a farmer's market? What about incorporating community service projects? If students are learning about government, can they run their own school town with roles and elections and policies? Are you going to have this environment where students are failing forward, where students celebrate their mistakes and what they learned from, and even have a board, like a physical board for them to document this? Instead of assigning a book report, maybe your students are able to choose between a podcast or a play or a video review. Can students learn about history by role-playing as a historical figure? So many endless possibilities, but it's your way. And from there, we can actually begin putting pen to paper. And if you're going, but what if I don't have the resources? I'm going to share some tips with you. But from here, once you capture the vision, you are really able to plan with the end in mind. And it begins backwards. What do you want students to know, to do, and to feel? And I say, the more simple you keep it, the more flexible it becomes. Engagement doesn't mean more work. It means better work. You have to be able to leave the room for student input and spontaneity. And I remember whenever I taught in public school, I had every single hour, minute, 30 minutes planned out. And I would feel so stressed at the end of the day that I never got to it. And I got to thinking about that the other day, and I thought, I never feel that type of constraint of time anymore. Students, hopefully, in my scenario, which is what I hope the students feel, is that they feel high energy and focused work, that there's mixed hands-on learning, but there's also quiet reflection, brain breaks, and keeping energy levels really balanced. You may also want to include learning portfolios instead of just grades, so they can document their growth through journals and videos and projects. I think the key is to focus on progress and not perfection. If you are in this situation and you are thinking, what if I don't have the resources? It's easy to think that you need fancy tools or expensive materials or a big budget to make learning engaging, but it's seriously not true. Engagement starts with how you teach, not what you have. So here are my low-cost and no-cost ways to make learning engaging. Number one, use what you have. Because learning materials can be everyday objects like kitchen tools for STEM, recycled materials for art, outside spaces for nature learning. You can leverage free resources, websites like Khan Academy, Mystery Science, ReadWorks. You can get creative with field trips. Maybe you can't afford a field trip. Bring in a virtual guest speaker, take a walking field trip, explore local parks. My students and I, every morning we would take a morning walk, but then there were some mornings where the walks just got longer and we went to more places, and I took them to local parks for free. And I actually had a parent help me with looking for free resources and events around town. And that was definitely another wonderful way to not feel as if you're having to plan it all on your own. And you may be thinking, but what if I'm not used to this type of teaching? I hear this all of the time when I'm coaching one-on-one. Maybe you're coming from a public school setting where learning was more structured and less hands-on, or maybe you've never seen yourself as a creative teacher, but that's okay because this is a learning process for you too. So the way that I suggest that you transition to engaging student-centered learning is number one is to start small. You don't have to change everything overnight. You could pick one new strategy and test it out, and maybe it's just 1 hour out of the day. I worked with a teacher recently, and she was having a very difficult time with this. But what we found was the last hour of the day, when the students' energy levels were dipping so low, she was able to break away and the students started working on their research projects in and of itself. I definitely believe that we need to let students lead. Let them tell us how they learn, what they want to learn, and to build on their interest. And it's absolutely okay to embrace trial and error. If the activity flops, because you know they do, you can just reflect it and then tweak it and try again. But it's so important that you're keeping a growth mindset because engagement is not about perfection, it's about connection. So if you're wondering, now, okay, how does this actually look if I want to create a lesson plan? Well, I think that there's just some simple strategies for an engaging lesson, that it doesn't have to be this long, drawn-out process, okay? Let's just do the 3-step planning method. And you're going to remember these 3 words: hook, explore, reflect. Hook. Start with a question, a mystery, or a little hands-on challenge. Explore. Let students investigate, create, collaborate. Stay out of it. Don't try to get in there. Give them 30 minutes, 45 minutes to figure things out on their own, to let the light bulbs come on, and then reflect. Give students time to discuss and write and present what they have learned. You can use what we call anchor activities. Instead of planning every single detail, just create some open-ended activities and students can explore at their own pace. You can also rotate activities. You can use a mix of reading, discussion, hands-on work, and projects to keep learning fresh. So for an example, instead of lecturing on the solar system, you can let students create models using clay or digital slides or even stop-motion videos. And if you're feeling like it's just too much, I understand that it's normal to feel overwhelmed when stepping into something new. The key is to take small, consistent steps rather than trying to do everything at once. This is how to move forward if you are feeling overwhelmed. Find a support system. I highly suggest that you connect with other educators in groups like Microschool Masterminds to share ideas. You can learn more about Microschool Masterminds and come and join us. In the month of April, we are focusing on planning. We love planning. I love planning. And sometimes planning is hard. Sometimes planning is overwhelming. Sometimes planning doesn't get done because we don't even know what to do, which is going to be the next episode, all about planning during uncertain, unknown times and when you just don't know how or what to do. Don't compare yourself to others because you can get into, let's just say, if you want to get into our Facebook group, we've got thousands of people in there. They're from all over the world. They're from all throughout 1 year, 3 years, 5 years of building their microschool. It's easy with that many people to feel the comparison. I say, if you're really serious about learning how to do this, learning what this looks like, we have an entire module in Microschool Masterminds dedicated to curriculum and learning. Go into Microschool Masterminds, start there. There's a smaller group of us, and it's very intentional the way that we collaborate and share ideas. The Facebook group is amazing, but if you're feeling as if you need to dive in deeper and really get some solid help and resources, this is the best place for you to get that intentional. And that's Microschool Masterminds. You can head over to www.teacherletyourlightshine.com/masterminds and read more about it. You have to give yourself permission to learn. The best teachers always stay curious and they adapt as they go. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to be willing to learn. Your dedication and your passion matter more than any fancy tool. And every small step that you take makes a huge difference in your students' lives. I hope that this message encouraged you, invigorated you, and I can't wait to see you in Microschool Masterminds. You can also book a clarity coaching session. So you can go to teachersletyourlightshine.com/coaching for a one-on-one session. And you can go to teachersletyourlightshine.com/masterminds and join us right now on demand learning all the modules, the group, and the coaching that you need, along with in April starting a new fresh activity on planning. You still get all of the information that we have in Microschool Masterminds, but you get brand new resources every single month to keep it fresh and fun and, of course, focused on your needs. We love you and we'll see you over there. teachersletyourlightshine.com/mastermind. To all my teacher friends, parents, and visionary leaders, if you are listening to this, I know you are passionate about creating a micro school or a program, a homeschool hybrid that truly shines. But let's be totally honest. Building and growing a micro school or your own program or homeschool hybrid, it isn't easy. It's not for the faint of heart. Whether you're just getting started or looking to scale, there's so much to navigate. Legalities, marketing, finances, student enrollment, location, curriculum planning. That's exactly why I created Microschool Masterminds, a community where you don't have to figure it out all alone. Inside, you'll get step-by-step guidance to launch, grow, and sustain your microschool or homeschool hybrid, access to our exclusive training modules, resources, and live coaching, and a supportive network of educators who get it because they're building their own dream schools as well. You have this dream of creating an incredible opportunity for students, for teachers, and yourself. Maybe you're in the early stages, wondering, where do I even start? Or maybe you've already taken the leap, but now you're feeling overwhelmed with marketing, enrollment, all of the planning or the finances. You're not alone and you don't have to figure it out all by yourself. That's why Microschool Masterminds is here to help you on a month-by-month basis. That's right, it's a month-by-month membership designed to give you the support, structure, and strategy you need to actually make progress. Each month, you'll get live group coaching calls so you can ask questions, get feedback, and gain clarity on your next steps. Step-by-step training modules on legal setup, marketing, enrollment, financial planning, school operations, a private community of passionate educators who get what you're building and are right there with you, a roadmap to keep you moving forward whether you're launching or growing your school, and new resources delivered to your teacher mailbox inside our Microschool Masterminds community that are brand new every single month. And again, the best part is it's a month-to-month membership, so you can join when you're ready and staying as long as you need. Or if you're all in, grab the yearly membership and get 2 months free. This is your time. Your vision deserves a real plan, and I want to help you every step of the way. Go to teachersletyourlightshine.com/masterminds to join us today. That's teachersletyourlightshine.com/masterminds. We can't wait to see you.